During the earthquake, my brother and my childhood sweetheart both abandoned me, choosing to save the real daughter first. My right leg was crushed and fractured as a result. After being carried out of the rubble, I heard my childhood sweetheart calmly ordering my brother. I'm planning to break off our engagement, so I need to keep my distance. She's your sister, you go take care of her. Sister, my ass, my brother said reluctantly. My real sister is back. How can an outsider like her have the nerve to keep freeloading in our house? After speaking, they both glanced back inadvertently. Meeting my gaze, they both looked unspeakably awkward. The rescue workers carrying me paused, looking down at me on the stretcher. Didn't you say they were your family and friends? Why did he call you an outsider? Then who should I hand you over to? As soon as he finished, the two boys who had just been passing the buck fell silent. They turned in unison to meet my gaze. A flicker of discomfort crossed their eyes. They probably hadn't expected me to be right behind them and overhear that conversation. I moved my lips, but before I could make a sound, the pain made me pass out. I was woken by the sound of hushed chatter outside my hospital room. That poor girl. Her leg is fractured, and no one has come to look after her since she was admitted. Well, it's her own fault, really. I heard she was the one switched at birth. Now that their real daughter is back, she should be making plans to leave. It's no wonder they don't want her around. That's true. I stared blankly at the cast on my right leg. The pain didn't seem as sharp as before. When I was trapped under the rubble and heard my brother Jiang Kai's voice, I thought I was saved. What are you wasting time for? Of course you save my sister first. She has claustrophobia. If you delay any longer and something happens to her, you'll answer to me. The one with claustrophobia was Josai, the real daughter. The rescuer's tone was grave. Then the family needs to be prepared. The girl trapped on the other side will most likely have her legs crushed by the collapsing wall. Jiang Kai paused, his voice dropping. I understand. We can only save one. What else can I do? Slivers of light pierced through the cracks, faintly illuminating my right leg, pinned between the rocks. The moment the pain became so intense I couldn't even scream, my resentment for Jiang Kai peaked. But now, I couldn't summon any emotion at all. I could even analyze it objectively. Jiang Kai wasn't wrong. It was perfectly reasonable for him to choose his own sister. Jiang Kai was right. I should leave. People who shamelessly overstay their welcome are the most despised. When Jiang Kai and the others came to see me, I was struggling to reach the hand warmer on the bedside table. The IV drip had left my hands ice cold. Josai walked in front. She skipped over to my side. Sister, did you really break your leg? She looked at my cast-wrapped leg in surprise, then let out a breath of post-disaster relief. I can't even imagine if it were me. I'd probably cry every day from the pain. Thank goodness, thank goodness. A sudden weariness washed over me. I no longer had the energy to care how much schadenfreude was laced in her words. Jiang Kai stood the furthest away, consistently avoiding my gaze. He was clearly still bothered by the awkwardness of that day and hadn't moved past it. Not like Shenzong. His expression was as cool and detached as ever. His eyes swept over my injured leg, his brow furrowing almost imperceptibly. He finally spoke after a long moment. When you've recovered, we need to talk. I froze, remembering what he had said by the ruins that day. He planned to break off our engagement. That must have been what he'd been hesitating to say. Josai looked back at him, her eyes trembling. You're getting soft-hearted, aren't you? Shenzong's lips thinned. So you think I should hurt her a second time under these circumstances? Josai lowered her eyes. After a few seconds, she said softly, That's not what I meant. I'm a little tired, I'm going home now. You two stay and take care of sister. It's inconvenient for her to be alone. She rushed through her words in a low voice and ran out. The sob that escaped in her last word still echoed in the room. Jiang Kai glared at Shenzong, like a wolf cub protecting its food. Shenzong, how dare you make my sister cry? Shenzong's gaze followed the girl, ignoring his warning. He just left a deep-voiced command, You stay here and take care of her, and chased after Josai. Huh, Jiang Kai exclaimed. He stiffly glanced back at me, then quickly followed them. Wait, I don't know how to take care of people. Don't leave me here alone. He hurried away as if fleeing a plague. The half-open door swayed back and forth in the wind from the window. In an instant, I was alone in the room again. From beginning to end, no one had given me a chance to speak. For instance, I wanted to say that I agreed to break off the engagement, and also that I didn't need anyone to stay and take care of me. In my week in the hospital, I had already learned to take care of myself. No one else came to see me before I was discharged. Only my adoptive mother called once, right after my cast was removed. She sighed and gently advised me, "Don't blame Zio Kai for choosing Zixi. She is his real sister after all, right? Mom hopes this won't create a rift between you two." "I don't blame him, Mom. He didn't do anything wrong." "You're so understanding. Mom and Dad will pick you up when you're discharged. We've been on a business trip recently and haven't had time to visit. You need to take good care of yourself." Just as she finished, Jiang Kai's urging voice came from her end. "Mom, who are you talking to? Hurry up. Let's take a family photo while that person isn't back yet." The air was so silent, I could only hear the static on the line. I spoke as if nothing was wrong. "I know, Mom. I'll take good care of myself." A distinct sigh of relief came from the other end. "Ah, okay then. I have to go. Mom has a meeting soon." The call was hastily hung up. The night was deep and quiet. I put my phone away and, holding onto the handrail, began another round of physical therapy. In the silent hospital corridor, I was the only one, dragging my atrophied leg forward, one small step at a time. Half an hour later, my forehead covered in a fine sheen of sweat, I curved my lips into a small smile. I walked 2 meters more today than yesterday. No one came to pick me up on the day of my discharge. Fortunately, I wasn't waiting for anyone anymore. The moment I stepped through the front door with my luggage, I knew I had come back at the wrong time. The 4 members of the Jiang family and Shenzong were having hot pot at home. My appearance shattered the cheerful atmosphere. Everyone's expression was different, but none of them were positive. The only sound in the room was the bubbling of the hot pot. My adoptive mother was the first to recover, forcing a smile at me. "Fanfan, why didn't you tell us you were coming back? You haven't eaten, have you? Come, sit down and eat with us." The spicy aroma filled the air. My wound seemed to ache faintly. I no longer felt the sense of grievance I used to. I didn't complain that no one truly cared about me, that no one even remembered I should avoid spicy food while my wound was healing. I didn't go forward and spoil their mood. I just said, "No thanks, Mom. I ate before I came back. I'll go to my room and unpack." That evening, in my adoptive father's study, his fingers tapped a steady rhythm on the desk. "You want to leave?" I nodded. "My flight is in a week. Please don't tell Mom and the others for now." I chose to tell only my adoptive father because he was the least close to me in this family. He wouldn't say anything difficult or try to make me stay out of soft-heartedness. As expected, my adoptive father didn't try to persuade me. "It's better that you leave. You can see for yourself that this family is a mess because of you. Once you're gone, don't contact your mother or the others again. Don't maintain lingering ties." I promised him I would never appear before them again. He looked at me with surprise for a few seconds, but said nothing. The pent-up frustration in my heart suddenly dissipated. I felt an indescribable sense of relief. I walked out of the villa, wanting to get some fresh air. A familiar roar of anger sounded from not far away. "Shenzong, you fucking ditch me again. You take my sister out on a date and leave me alone to face that person. Are you even human? I'm so done. Why did she have to come back? Doesn't she know she makes the whole family feel awkward?" Jiang Kai hung up the phone with a frustrated flourish. He turned and met my gaze. His livid expression changed, becoming complicated and hard to read. As we stood in a stalemate, a car sped towards us. Jiang Kai was standing on the edge of the road, not yet reacting. Years of habit made me instinctively step forward and pull him back. The car honked twice and sped past. I breathed a sigh of relief, having no desire to speak to him. I let him go and turned to leave. Jiang Kai hesitated for 2 seconds, then followed me. Sis, thank you." I nodded without speaking. Jiang Kai stammered for a while, then suddenly grabbed my hand. He said in a tone of self-abandonment, "I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things about kicking you out. You know me, I've always spoken without thinking since I was a kid. I never really wanted you to leave." I turned my head and looked at the boy, whose face still held a trace of immaturity. "I know. So, can we make up?" Jiang Kai was still awkward, the tips of his ears turning red as he spoke. I tried to pull my wrist free. Instead of answering him, I said, "Can you let me go first, please? Holding my hand like this makes me a little uncomfortable." Jiang Kai froze and let go. His astonished gaze was tinged with a hint of grievance. He had held my hand like this ever since we were children. I didn't know when I had stopped being comfortable with his physical closeness. Just as I was about to leave, a convertible Aston Martin pulled up in front of us. Zhou Zai was in the passenger seat, her eyes darting back and forth between Jiang Kai and me. She spoke to Jiang Kai. "Jiang Kai, how old are you? Still so clingy. Get in. This is the last time, okay? We're really not bringing you next time." Jiang Kai didn't move. He frowned and said, "Sis, you should wipe your mouth first." At his reminder, I noticed the smudged lipstick around Zhou Zai's lips. Shenzong, beside her, also had a faint smear on the corner of his mouth. Zhou Zai's ears turned red. She touched up her lipstick in the rearview mirror, complaining, "I told you not to kiss so hard. It's so embarrassing." I looked at Shenzong and unexpectedly met his gaze. The next second, he turned his head away. He tapped his fingers on the steering wheel and asked Jiang Kai impatiently, "Are you getting in or not?" Jiang Kai didn't blow up and argue with him like he used to. He took my hand again and said in a low voice, "You guys go have fun. I won't bother you, I'll go home with my sister." Before I could react, he was already leading me away. Zhou Zai suddenly called out to me, "Wait, Shenzong has something to say to you." She playfully poked Shenzong's shoulder with her index finger, her smile radiant. "Sister is out of the hospital now. You can say it." I watched Shenzong quietly, waiting for him to bring up breaking the engagement. The young man's eyes were slightly lowered. It was a long time before he spoke. "How's your physical therapy going?" Zhou Zai's smile froze on her lips. I paused. "It's going well." Shenzong gave a slight nod, released the clutch, and drove away. He still hadn't mentioned it. Inopportunely, I remembered a nurse telling me during my hospital stay that a tall, handsome boy had come to see me twice while I was asleep. Belatedly, I realized that person was probably Shenzong. Shenzong kept putting it off, but at dinner the next day, my adoptive mother brought it up. Shenzong was sitting next to Zhou Zai at the time. He looked up abruptly at her words. Clearly, he was also taken aback. My adoptive mother tried to persuade me. This marriage was meant for Zixi in the first place. Be sensible and give it to her. Mom will find another boy for you. I picked up a piece of crown daisy and put it in my bowl, answering softly, "Okay, Mom, whatever you say." My attitude was so calm that several people at the table were surprised. It was as if they hadn't expected me to agree so easily. My adoptive mother's expression relaxed, and she smiled. "You've become much more sensible since you came back." I lowered my head and ate, not saying another word. I had simply come to terms with my reality. Once I stopped seeing them as my family and started seeing them as outsiders to whom I owed a debt of gratitude for raising me, I put myself in the correct position. I would no longer resent anything. After dinner, I was passing by Zhou Zai's room with a glass of water. The door was ajar. She was hugging our adoptive mother's waist, acting spoiled. "Mom, you can't find a really good blind date for Jiang Fan, okay? She's enjoyed 21 years of good fortune for nothing. It's time she suffered a little. She owes me this." The hand our adoptive mother was stroking her hair with paused slightly. "Fanfan is an orphan. She was abandoned at the hospital right after she was born. It was a nurse's mistake that got you two switched. She's innocent too." Zhou Zai lifted her head from her mother's embrace. "So I deserved to suffer for all those years. I'm not making her pay back the money. This family spent raising her for over 20 years, and I didn't kick her out. I just want her to experience a little setback so I can feel a bit more balanced. Are you still going to protect her?" She finished the last sentence with a sob. Zhou Zai pushed her away and fell onto the bed, crying even harder. Our adoptive mother hurriedly comforted her. Okay, Mom promises you. Your Uncle Duan's son is the most profligate second-generation heir in our circle. How about I introduce him to Fanfan? Don't cry, baby." I lowered my eyes and stopped listening. I went downstairs and placed the cup on the counter. The ice inside had mostly melted. I opened my hand and saw my palm was pale and bluish, the result of being frozen for a long time. Only now did I feel it. Shenzong appeared as I was washing the cup. He sat silently across from me. As I was about to leave, he spoke in a low voice. "Don't just go on blind dates with anyone. The news that you're not a Jiang family daughter has already spread. If you go on dates now, they'll only look down on you." I didn't stop walking. "That has nothing to do with you." Shenzong grabbed my arm. He pulled me in front of him, staring at me. "Are you blaming me for breaking off the engagement?" Jiang Fan, I had no choice. To ensure the partnership between the Jiang and Shen families, I can only marry the Jiang family's biological daughter. I struggled, "And you were forced to fall in love with Zhou Zai too. You make yourself sound so innocent." He gripped me tighter, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Weren't you the one who forced me? During the time Zhou Zai was brought back, you were so sensitive you weren't acting like a normal person. You were constantly suspecting that there was something between her and me. If she said one extra word to me, you'd start a huge fight. Jiang Fan, think about it yourself. You're the one who pushed me away." I didn't want to rehash the incidents, where Zhou Zai deliberately fell into his arms or the two of them exchanged ambiguous texts late at night. I just kept my head down and tried to pull my arm free. Shenzong watched me indifferently, unmoved. Shenzong, let go of my sister. Jiang Kai's roar came from the second floor. It was followed by the sound of hurried footsteps. Jiang Kai rushed over and shoved Shenzong away. I'm warning you, stay away from my sister from now on. You already have Sister Zixi. Stop bothering my other sister. Jiang Kai shielded me behind him. It had been so long that it felt unfamiliar. After Shenzong left, Jiang Kai's tense nerves gradually relaxed. He turned to instruct me. Sis, if he ever bothers you again, just tell me. I'll take care of him. Thanks. He pressed his lips together and asked in a small voice. Are you busy this afternoon? Do you want to go out? I can go with you. Jiang Kai seemed to have reverted to his old self. Before Zhozai appeared, he loved to stick to me like this. No, thank you, I said. I have a follow-up appointment at the hospital this afternoon. Then I'll go with you. This time, he spoke before I could. Don't refuse me again, sis. He stood before me, all 6'1" of him, with awkwardness and disappointment alternating on his face. Your leg is my fault. Accompanying you to a checkup is nothing. If your leg has any long-term effects, I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. He looked at me, his promise earnest. A hint of expectation flickered in his eyes, as if he was waiting for some positive response from me. But I said nothing, because there was no rest of your life to talk about. In 6 days, I would be gone. The blind date was scheduled for noon the next day. When my adoptive mother told me, her eyes wouldn't meet mine. Fanfan. The other party is the second son of the Duan family. They're considered the fastest rising new money in B City, quite a good match. You should go meet him today, just to get to know each other. Jiang Kai, standing to the side, frowned. Duan the second. Mom, isn't he the one with constant scandals and negative press for things like drunk driving and group brawls? You're introducing someone like that to sister. My adoptive mother forced a smile. Don't listen to all that baseless gossip. I've met the boy, he's quite gentlemanly. Jiang Kai wanted to say more, but I interrupted him. It's fine, it's just a meal. My adoptive mother shot Jiang Kai a glare. Fanfan doesn't even mind. What are you worrying about? With all this time, you'd be better off caring more about your real sister. All day long, you're siding with an out. Her voice cut off abruptly. In my peripheral vision, both she and Jiang Kai looked at me nervously. I was busy checking the weather for my departure day, completely ignoring their reactions. They didn't know yet. I had become desensitized to the word outsider. For the blind date lunch, Jiang Kai insisted on coming with me. If I'm there, that bastard won't dare say anything disrespectful to you. If he does, I'll make his life hell. I glanced at the boy in the driver's seat. His profile still held a trace of fading youthfulness. He was, after all, only 19, with a straightforward personality. His philosophy was simple. He was good to whoever was good to him. When Zhozai first arrived, she was gentle and considerate towards him. She unconditionally sided with him in everything, even when he was wrong. It made my occasional lectures seem harsh and impersonal by comparison. During one argument, he said coldly, Jiang Fan, what right do you have to control me? You're not even my real sister. Still think this is your home, you're just an outsider, understand? We started giving each other the cold shoulder. During that time, his relationship with Zhozai grew closer. And by the same token, he completely distanced himself from me. It must have been my instinctive act of saving him that night that made him remember the past and take the initiative to approach me again. It also unintentionally magnified his guilt for not choosing me during the earthquake. I thought for a moment and advised him, Jiang Kai, you don't have to do this, trying to compensate me for something. I don't blame you for choosing Zhozai. She is your real sister after all. You did nothing wrong. The boy's hands tightened on the steering wheel. He stared straight ahead and said after a moment, it's not compensation. You're my sister too, shouldn't I be good to you? His Adam's apple bobbed, his voice turning hoarse. Can you not always push me away? How should I put it? I wasn't pushing him away. I just wasn't waiting for him in the same place anymore. So when he turned back to find me, he only felt me getting further and further away. The moment that Duan fellow appeared, he exuded an aura of pure scoundrel. He arrived with a hickey on his neck. His flippant expression vanished the instant he saw Jiang Kai. Jiang Kai toyed with the knife by his plate. Duan the second, let me ask you, what happened to your neck? You know you're on a blind date with my sister today, right? Mr. Duan nervously covered his neck. It's just a mosquito bite, young Master Jiang, don't misunderstand. The meal was mostly smooth. He didn't say anything out of line, just ate politely and stiffly through the whole thing. On the way back, Jiang Kai was humming a song. See, you still need your little brother to protect you. And you didn't even want me to come. If I hadn't, you would have been bullied. I didn't know what to say, so I just repeated, thank you again. The car stopped at the villa gate as usual. As Jiang Kai and I got out, we ran right into Shenzong. He looked like he had been waiting at the gate for a long time, his eyes dark. You still went on the blind date. Jiang Kai stepped in front of me. What's it to you? Get out of the way. Shenzong's gaze slowly moved to Jiang Kai's face. Then, without warning, he threw a punch at him. Caught off guard, Jiang Kai stumbled and hit the wall. Shenzong, have you lost your mind? I ran towards Jiang Kai, but Shenzong grabbed my shoulder and pulled me back. He seemed to be desperately suppressing his anger, his face eerily calm. You knew what kind of person that Duan is, and you still went. Jiang Fan, how did you become so desperate? He's nothing. Instead of sucking up to him and trying to marry into his family, you might as well wait until Zhou Zai and I are married and be my mistress. I can give you much more than he ever could. I stared at him in disbelief. I never thought such words would come from the mouth of the ever-composed and proper Shenzong. He had me in such a grip that I couldn't even raise my hand to slap him. Jiang Kai staggered to his feet. Shenzong, do you dare repeat what you just said? He grabbed a nearby stick and raised it. Before it could fall, our adoptive mother, who had just arrived, stopped him with a cold shout. Shenzong regained some of his senses and let me go. My adoptive mother stared at me without blinking and walked towards me. I pressed my lips together. Mom. A sudden slap cut off my words. The force of it turned my head to the side. Shenzong frowned slightly. Jiang Kai cried out, Mom, what are you doing? It was this asshole harassing sister. You shut up. My adoptive mother scolded him, then turned to question me. Jiang Fan, I'm asking you, did you or did you not promise me you would give Shenzong to Zixi? The slightest movement of my lips sent a sharp pain across half my face. Mom, I didn't. I'm asking you, did you or did you not? She suddenly shrieked. I paused for a few seconds, then nodded. Yes. Then, what are you doing getting entangled with him now? Are you trying to deliberately disgust your sister? She was trembling with anger, and you incited Zio Kai to fight for you. I was frozen to the spot. Without looking up, I could feel the hatred in her every word. She said, if you had died in the hospital back then, my daughter might not have been switched, and our family wouldn't be in such turmoil now. As soon as the words were out, Jiang Kai cut her off. Mom. It was as if all sound had suddenly vanished. After what felt like an eternity, my adoptive mother took a deep breath. I don't mean that I regret raising you. As for what happened today, you should reflect on it yourself. The sound of her high heels faded into the distance. It was as if my restraints had finally been released. As I lifted my leg to walk, the blood began to flow through my body again. I walked mechanically into the house and back to my room. Jiang Kai followed me inside. He leaned back against the wall, his head bowed. Sis, don't blame Mom. She just wants to compensate Sister Zixi so badly, so she can't bear to see her wronged. She didn't mean what she said. Don't take it to heart. Ever since my true parentage was revealed, everyone around me had been instilling one idea in me, that I should unconditionally tolerate everything, because I owed it to the Jiang family. Even Jiang Kai's words now carried that underlying meaning. I knew it wasn't wrong, but at a certain moment, I couldn't help but hope that someone, just one person for once, would stand firmly on my side between me and the Jiang family. A huge sense of powerlessness and exhaustion swirled around me like a vortex, draining my soul. I was more lifeless than the withered branches outside the window. I know. Perhaps my calm, almost eerie, attitude made him uneasy. Jiang Kai felt an urgent need to do something for me. Sis, your face is swollen. I'll get some medicine for you. He started looking for the first aid kit. His eyes scanned the room and suddenly fixed on the suitcase in the corner. Jiang Kai walked over, looked at it for 2 seconds, then picked it up to test its weight. With his back to me, he asked in a casual tone, Sis, why is the suitcase out? What's inside? In those 2 seconds of hesitation, I thought about just telling him the truth. Given the current situation, it was highly unlikely anyone would miss me. I wouldn't have to worry about not being able to leave. But given how much my adoptive mother cared about her reputation, she wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't give others the chance to say she had abandoned her adopted daughter. I said casually, I packed some clothes I can't wear anymore. I plan to take them to a donation center in a few days. Jiang Kai let out a silent sigh of relief. He put the suitcase down and smiled. Oh, I see. Then I'll go pack some of my stuff too. We can go donate them together in a few days. Okay, sis. He emphasized the word together. I looked up, but I couldn't see any trace of concealment in his nonchalant expression. I guessed he probably hadn't found out yet and gave a slight nod. Okay. Then it's a deal. You've never lied to me since we were kids. He looked at me. So sis, I'll believe anything you say. I forgot to put medicine on my face. By dinner time, a clear red mark was imprinted on my right cheek, and it was even more swollen. Josie sat across from me, her eyes wide as she observed it, letting out a small gasp. Wow, that looks like it really hurts. I picked up a few grains of rice and chewed slowly, not reacting to her words. She was full of enthusiasm and continued on her own. But sis, you were too thin anyway. The swollen face actually makes you look fuller. It's kind of cute. Her clear laughter was the only sound at the dinner table. Hey. If you got slapped on the left cheek too, it would be symmetrical. With both sides swollen up high, you'd look just like one of those New Year's painting dolls. Beside me, Jiang Kai poked at the rice in his bowl. His expression was complex and helpless. After a moment, he leaned towards my ear and whispered awkwardly, Sis, don't mind her, okay? It's inevitable that she has issues with you right now. Just bear with it a little longer. She should be able to accept you soon. Then, you'll be able to stay in this family peacefully. I had nothing to say. I just wanted to finish eating and go back to my room, where the solitude might alleviate this overwhelming sense of suffocation. As I was thinking this, a hand suddenly reached out in front of me. It was my adoptive mother's. I subconsciously thought she was really going to slap my left cheek and flinched back. Her hand froze in midair. She looked at me, slightly bewildered. Mom just wanted to look at your injury. I was just so angry today that I hit you. She explained softly, Mom won't hit you again. I slowly nodded. I misunderstood. I desperately wanted to go back to my room, away from everyone. I hastily finished the last 2 bites of rice in my bowl and put down my chopsticks. I'm done eating. I'm going back to my room. My adoptive mother seemed to call my name very softly behind me. I didn't hear clearly, so I pretended I hadn't heard at all. For the next 2 days, Jiang Kai became even clingier. He would find excuses to wander into my room. His gaze swept over the suitcase time and time again. I was sure he was suspicious, but for some reason, he never asked about it again. Only one day, after coming back from a class reunion, he hugged me, reeking of alcohol. Sis, I really want you to go back to how you were before, carefree and always happy. But I also want to be your brother for a lifetime. He mumbled, it's such a hard choice. The next day, sober, he acted as if he had blacked out, never mentioning what he'd said the night before. The day I left happened to be both my and Zai's birthday. I was born only a few hours before her. I had thought that with everyone at home, leaving unnoticed would be difficult. The night before, Zai had made a request. Everyone was to celebrate her birthday only. It's my first birthday in my own home, with my real family. I don't want to share it with anyone else. She blinked innocently, tilting her head. Is that wrong? Besides, it's not like it'll kill sister to miss one birthday, right? My adoptive mother rubbed her temples, looking weary. Then neither of you will celebrate. I was a little surprised that my adoptive mother didn't indulge Zai this time. I felt it was unnecessary. I don't mind not celebrating. My adoptive mother insisted, a birthday is a big deal. Mom has to treat you both equally. She raised her hand and gently touched my right cheek. The swelling was long gone, with only a faint red line from her nail still visible. Fanfan, we can't always make you suffer. Although my heart was as cold as if I'd been gutting fish for 10 years at a supermarket, and I felt no emotion. When I discovered this was all an act, I still found it utterly absurd. On my birthday, the day I was leaving, the sky was just beginning to lighten when I was woken by a rustling sound. I checked my phone. It wasn't even 6 a.m. I got out of bed and had just pushed the door open a crack when the sound of Jiang Kai and Zai's conversation drifted in. Jiang Kai was deliberately keeping his voice down. For goodness sake, can you be a little quieter? What if you wake sister up? Zai scoffed. Having to sneak around just to go out and celebrate my birthday alone is so lame. This is the biggest compromise Mom would make. She said either we celebrate both birthdays together or we don't tell sister Fanfan. She said she couldn't let her be hurt or wronged again. For a second or two, I thought I had misheard. It was so absurd it was laughable. Zai studied him and smiled. You've been getting closer and closer to her lately. Jiang Kai, which sister do you like more now? Jiang Kai pressed his lips together, not answering. Zai said again, let me rephrase the question. If you had to choose again right now, in that earthquake, would you still choose to save me? My hand was on the doorknob. The words he'd said when he was drunk, and the tear stains he'd left under my collar when he'd buried his face in my neck, flooded my mind. From beginning to end, my decision to leave had never wavered. I hadn't felt any reluctance to part with anyone or anything, but when he had cried in my arms, saying he wished I would always be happy, the hand I had raised to push him away had fallen silently back to my side. The emotion I felt in that moment was indescribably complex. It took a long time for Jiang Kai to answer. I would. His reason was both expected and logical. Because you are my real sister. The two of them went downstairs one after another. I waited another half hour, thinking they had all left, before pushing the door open, only to run right into them as they were about to leave. They looked up at the sound, and the moment our eyes met, their expressions turned unnatural. Fanfan, you're up so early today. My adoptive mother gave a dry laugh. We were planning to take Zixi to visit her grandmother. We saw you were still asleep, so we didn't want to disturb you. Since you're awake, do you want to come with us? I won't go, Mom. I have something to do today. I need to go out too. My adoptive father glanced at me upon hearing this. My adoptive mother quietly breathed a sigh of relief. All right then, sweetie. Be safe when you go out. We'll be back tonight. Jiang Kai stood at the very back. Everyone else had left, but he remained rooted to the spot, looking at me. Sis, what is it? I asked, my expression normal. It's just, I suddenly remembered you haven't donated those clothes yet. Wait for me to get back, and we'll go donate them together tomorrow. His eyes curved into a smile, as bright and clear as when he was a child. I didn't know if he had sensed something. I answered him quietly, okay. As if he had received some kind of assurance, Jiang Kai nodded vigorously. MHM. The main door was finally closed. I glanced at the wall clock. There were less than 4 hours until my flight. I checked my luggage. It was time to go. My destination was Xiamen. The investigation into my origins hadn't yielded much. The nurse who had switched us back then only remembered that my mother was from Xiamen and her surname was Song. So when I booked the ticket, I subconsciously chose Xiamen. I didn't leave a letter for anyone. It felt like I had run out of things to say to them a long time ago. After boarding and finding my seat, I took out my phone's SIM card, threw it away, and replaced it with a new one. I deleted all my social media accounts. The cabin announcement reminded passengers to turn off their phones. I did one last check to make sure no one could contact me, then turned it off. The plane took off. I let out a long breath. It was a sense of relief I hadn't felt in a very long time. Zhou Zai was thoroughly satisfied with her birthday celebration. Seeing her perpetually upturned lips, Jiang Kai was happy for her too. He thought that if Zhou Zai were always this happy, she wouldn't constantly pick fights with Jiang Fan. He hoped his two sisters could get along peacefully. Jiang Kai stopped at a souvenir shop window in the amusement park. The doll that Jiang Fan loved, which had always been out of stock, was finally available. It was quite large. After buying it, he held it in his arms the whole time. It occasionally blocked his view. Zhou Zai glanced at him. Do you think Jiang Fan will ever forgive you? It's obvious to anyone with eyes that she's changed. Jiang Kai lowered his head. I'm not expecting her to forgive me because of this. I just thought of her when I saw it, so I bought it. For the rest of the day, Jiang Kai's mood was visibly down. He only started to feel better when they got home in the evening. Sister, look what I bought for you. The half-open door to her room was pushed open. It was empty. Jiang Kai instinctively looked at the corner. The suitcase was gone. His hands fell limply to his sides. The doll tumbled to the floor, a smudge of dust on its cute face. Jiang Mu seemed not to understand Jiang Kai's words. What do you mean, gone? How could Fanfan be gone? If you can't reach her, call the police. Jiang Fu stopped her hand as she was about to dial 110. She's gone. She told me a week ago. All eyes focused on him. Now that our biological daughter is back, there's no need for her to stay here. Jiang Mu found his words too cold. With red eyes, she said, Fanfan is my daughter too. She complained to Jiang Fu about why he had hidden Jiang Fan's departure. The two of them started to argue. Meanwhile, Shenzong, who had just arrived, heard that Jiang Fan was gone and immediately sent people to look for her. Zhou Zai questioned whether he was still not over Jiang Fan, and the atmosphere grew tense. The house was in chaos. Jiang Kai, who had been silent all this time, smashed a table lamp. The four of them fell silent and looked at him. Jiang Kai was breathing heavily, his eyes scanning the room. No one is allowed to look for my sister. What right do we have to look for her? His gaze swept over them one by one, a cold sneer on his face. A selfish childhood sweetheart and fiancé who, after breaking the engagement for his own benefit, shamelessly continues to bother her. A mother who paid lip service to treating them equally, yet slapped her without reason and cursed her to die. A cold, indifferent, invisible father, and a sister addicted to bullying her. Jiang Kai had always known. He just hadn't been willing to think too deeply about Jiang Fan's difficult situation. It was as if by doing so, he could pretend the family was still harmonious, and Jiang Fan would have no reason to leave. He finally summed himself up. And a brother who almost crippled her and could only ever tell her to endure. He stated numbly, "The truth is, we all know she did nothing wrong. She didn't choose to come to this family. She doesn't owe us anything. But we still took it for granted and wronged her time and time again." Jiang Mu covered her face and wept. "My Fanfan." Shen Zong's face was ashen, as if the words had hit their mark. But Zhou Zai and Jiang Fu still looked as if it had nothing to do with them. Jiang Kai turned to leave. Zhou Zai sneered at his back. "No one wants to look for her. I hope she never comes back for the rest of her life." In that instant, Jiang Kai realized something. Perhaps the greatest influence on a person isn't genetics, but their environment. Once Zhou Zai shed her gentle facade, she was far less like his sister than Jiang Fan had been, whether in terms of upbringing, personality, or character. Jiang Fan could never have imagined it. After she left, the Jiang family did not, as she had envisioned, return to being a warm, normal family. Jiang Mu was often in a daze, calling Zhou Zai Fanfan. Zhou Zai would smash things everywhere to vent her anger. "If you miss Jiang Fan so much, then go find her. If you don't like me, you shouldn't have brought me back. Do you think I'm not miserable living in your house?" At some point, she had befriended a group of good-for-nothing rich kids and stopped coming home. By the time Jiang Mu realized it, she had completely turned into a delinquent. Her main connection to the Jiang family was asking for money to squander. Shen Zong's company also faced a crisis, and he was in a terrible mood. The two of them argued constantly and eventually broke off their engagement. In the third year after Jiang Fan left, Zhou Zai killed someone while street racing. At the police station, Jiang Mu slapped her with a trembling hand. Zhou Zai laughed. "I was watching from upstairs the day you hit Jiang Fan. I knew then that one day you would hit me too. You're not a qualified mother." She wasn't wrong. Jiang Mu didn't discipline her properly, but she also couldn't bear to see her suffer. She wanted to use her connections to get her out. But Jiang Fu forbade it. "Whatever her sentence is, she deserves it. If you indulge her now, she'll become even more lawless in the future and might even harm the company." Jiang Kai was present at the time and let out a silent laugh when he heard this. His father truly put the company's interests above all else. The man turned to look at him. "Happy to see your sister go to prison. Jiang Kai, you're about to graduate from university. It's time you came to the company to help your father." Jiang Kai refused directly, "Not interested. And I don't have the talent for it." Jiang Fu was getting older, and even reading documents on the computer was becoming a strain. He tossed his glasses aside and pressed his temples. The word talent, spoken by Jiang Kai, echoed in his mind. When he first learned Jiang Fan wasn't his daughter, he hadn't believed it. Because Jiang Fan seemed to have inherited his business acumen, showing a flair for business even in university. But the paternity test results were right in front of him. He couldn't possibly continue to groom an outsider and hand the company over to her. Later, one day, the company faced a crisis. He was on business trips for days on end. When he returned home and stood before the mirror in the entryway, he saw a face that looked 10 years older. He looked around the house, which was so quiet it felt devoid of life. Only then did he begin to reflect on a question. Letting Jiang Fan go, it seemed, had not been the right thing to do. In my second year in Xiamen, I accidentally found my biological aunt. She was exceptionally successful in her career, but her son was solely focused on learning to paint, so she began to train me as her successor. I was so busy every day that I hadn't thought about the Jiang family for a long time. Until the 5th year, when my cousin and I accompanied her to a highly reputable hospital in B City for a checkup. There, we ran into Jiang Mu and Jiang Kai. When my eyes met Jiang Mu's, tears immediately fell from hers. "Fanfan." She reached a hand out to me. My aunt quickly guessed her identity and pulled me behind her. "Mrs. Jiang, I presume. Thank you for raising my sister's daughter for all these years. We were actually planning to pay you a visit on this trip to B City. I will make time in the next 2 days to visit and express our gratitude, and also to discuss the costs of raising Fanfan all these years." Jiang Mu's mouth opened. I raised Fanfan as my own daughter. How can you measure that with money? My aunt smiled. The two are not mutually exclusive. The screen outside the consultation room called my aunt's name. It was her turn. After my aunt went in, I waited by the door, not speaking to them. The light above was blocked by a shadow. It was Jiang Kai, who had walked up to me. Sis. I looked up and met the young man's cautious gaze. Long time no see. I nodded. Long time no see. He pressed his lips together. Do you remember you used to tell me I had a talent for songwriting? I've written several songs in the past few years and signed with a company. Sis, if you're free tomorrow, we could. Sis. My cousin returned after paying the bill, draping an arm bonelessly over my shoulder. Who's this? What are you talking about? I introduced him, the son of my adoptive parents. Before they could even greet each other, several doctors rushed towards us, pushing a hospital bed. Jiang Kai paused, his voice dropping. Jiang Kai didn't move out of the way in time, and his arm was bumped. I didn't hear him cry out in pain, so it probably wasn't serious. I continued our previous conversation, asking him, "What were you about to say?" Jiang Kai moved his bumped arm behind his back and quietly shook his head. Nothing. He managed a small smile. I just wanted to share the good news with you. I said, that's great. Just then, my aunt finished her appointment and came out with a prescription from the doctor. Jiang Kai took a few steps back. I'll be going then. Goodbye, sis. I hummed in acknowledgement. As he turned, I inadvertently saw his swollen hand. After leaving the hospital, my cousin's curiosity was piqued. He pestered me endlessly about the past. Sis, were they good to you before? They were once. My cousin sounded sour. How good could they have been? I thought for a moment, like living in a fairy tale. Then I'll be twice as good to you from now on and bring you back to your fairy tale world. I pinched his cheek, but I prefer my life now. It's real and vibrant. After the earthquake, I decided to say goodbye to that kind of life. It was as if a doll on tiptoe had finally planted her feet on the ground, redefining my future. It might be a little tiring, but every step I walk on my own path counts.